Yes, people. Big opinions and nothing held back. This is the Football Talk Shop, and I'm your host, Akbos. And with me on this one, I've got two fantastic co-hosts from the green and yellow side of Africa. And you can sprinkle the blue in there. And Bafana, South Africa. I've got one step closer to the World Cup qualification. Yes, I'm here for the roasting. I'm here to come give South Africa all credit, all well-deserved credit with how they've performed so far during this World Cup qualifying series. And I'm with my brothers, Mbizo and Zamani, and Shad on this one. Mbizo and Zamani, how are you feeling coming into today's live stream, today's review show with some bragging rights, with also, your chest up out, with also, the joy and knowing in fact that South Africa have got, one step closer to the prize, which in this case is the World Cup qualification spot. How do you feel, my brother?
Firstly, Akpos, thanks again for always these rousing introductions, the best in the business.
Hey.
Chadley, it's great to have you as well on the stream. And for the people at home, like, subscribe, you know the whole thing. Akpos says it better than me. But Akpos, my guy, listen, I'm happy. I'm relieved, I think is another word I might use, because as I said before, Nigeria is probably one of Africa's biggest teams, the biggest threat in the group. No matter how the group is going, no matter how much they have struggled, Nigeria is one of the top teams in Africa and is the top team in the group. So to be one step closer and to know that our next opposition is the weakest team in the group, the weakest performing team in the group, is very relieving. The job is not done yet, so I'm also weary. We must go out and get the points necessary. But I'm relieved. I'll be honest, though, it would have been much sweeter if we got the 3 points because, the banter would have been even more succulent. But you know what? I'll settle for one step closer to the World Cup. Is he there? Akbos, my brother. Yeah, sometimes the internet fails us. You know these things. But Chadley, I'm sure he was going to ask you the same, buddy. I'm sure he was going to ask you the same. How you feeling? How you feeling about the game and or at least about yesterday's performance, but our overall movement towards the prize.
We're cooking.
We're cooking.
Let's start there. We're cooking. I can talk on the game, but I don't want to beat my puffed up chest until I'm allowed to do so.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
But in Africa, I've said it before in a couple of circles. African qualifying is the hardest qualifying in all of world football. So there are no easy games, there are no easy teams, and even though our games are both home games, and we have the best qualifying run in terms of advantage out of any qualifying campaign ever, we still have to play the games and win the games. But right now, I'm so excited for the first time after a long traumatic period.
Honest one, Shad. Honest one. And you put it rightly there, my brother. Because going into this game, I was very honest with my assessment of the South African team. For people who saw the stream that was done by Mbizo and myself, I've kept an eye on the South African team for a long time, and I've seen the improvement. I saw it during the last African Cup of Nations, how South Africa came back even with one man down during the game and showed fight, showed resilience. They gave us a run for our money. And even though we came out victorious, I was impressed by the quality of football on display by Hugo Broos's team. And I was not surprised yesterday. I told Chad, I told you and Mbizo after the game and during the game that I was not surprised by how South Africa, the quality of football I was seeing, because I've kept close eye. I've kept, my eagle eyes on the South African team, and I expected South Africa to put the ball on the ground just exactly. Yeah. I expected the wingers to give us problem. We saw what Nkota was doing on the right for South Africa, which was on the left side. And if Bassi was not as physically strong as he, it would have been in a lot of problems.
Bassi had a great game, didn't he?
Exactly. If you notice, the first ball that went to Nkota, you saw the way Bassi was shoving him out of the way, was trying to impose himself physically. And I thought that was a statement from Bassi, because he realized that if he would have gone pound for pound with Nkota with pace there, it would lose that battle. So he used his physical side of the game, and he used his strength very well. And for me, I think going into the next African Cup of Nations, going into the World Cup, if South Africa, get the job done eventually, which I think South Africa would do, I don't see a big miracle happening where South Africa would lose both games. And even though on court, even though the 3 points is deducted, we don't know what's going to happen. Even though that 3 points is deducted, I still think South Africa qualifies with how well they've positioned themselves so far. And this was something that I expected from the Super Eagles. But I will get to the Super Eagles. But let me give South Africa credit, because I think during this qualifying series, the South African team, Bafana, have shown that they are the team that wants it more. And it's not a surprise for me that they are at the top of the summit right now. And credit to the team, credit to all the development that's going on with South African football. And I think it is something that the Super Eagles and the NFF, in my opinion, because I think a lot of issues we've suffered in recent time, I need to blame the people making key decisions,
organization,
doing the organization, the people appointing the coaches. So I think this is the root cause of all Nigerians' problem right now. We need to go back to the drawing board. We need to, come up with a plan, come up with a road plan for where we want to see Nigerian football in the next couple of years. But for South Africa now, South Africa are getting it right. It's not perfect yet. There are still issues that need to be addressed with terms of organization, with terms of the mistake in fielding Teboho Mokoena. This is a mistake that should be avoidable in 2025. Right now, we don't need to see mistakes like this happening in our federation across Africa. I think the organizers, the administrators, they need to put their acts in order and put African football on the right place that it needs to be in terms of the world game. But with how South Africa performed yesterday, in my opinion, I think they came with a perfect game plan and they executed it perfectly and well. Kudos to Goodbro system. Kudos to this Bafana team. Kudos to the young 19-year-old lad who had a very impressive game. This is a player I told you guys before the game that I've heard a lot of good things about him. Personally, I was impressed that this is the talent coming out from Africa. But talking about talents coming out from Africa, I think we also had a bright spot. I think that is the only light in the tunnel for Nigeria and the Super Eagles during this qualifying round in Benjamin Frederick, the young lad that played, the young year-old centre-back that played, and I think he did a fantastic job with how he was marshalling the likes of Life Forster, who's I consider a very experienced striker for a 20-year-old lad, to face him and on home soil and command his ground like that. I think that was an impressive one, and it gives me hope for what's to come, especially in that defense that we have players that are aging. We saw how our captain, own goal that I considered yesterday. But I saw that I was struggling with the pace of the South African forwards. These guys were very pacey. When I saw the lineup, I was talking to one of my big brothers, Coach Obi, and I was telling him I'm concerned with Ekong starting this game because of the pace of the South Africans. But I understood also the switch that the coach puts Bassi on the left. But credit to South Africa. And Mbizo, I would like to get your thoughts with how, this South African Bafana team prevented the Super Eagles from winning, because going into the game, I stressed that while I was stressing it, that all our hopes lie into this game because we did not get our job done leading to this South African game. A draw would have been okay for us if we have got the job done in the previous game.
Done earlier,
Exactly. Because of how we have shot ourselves in the foot, we needed to come there and must win. But what are your thoughts with how the Bafana team that we saw on display yesterday against the Super Eagles executed the job? Because the first 30 to 35 minutes, South Africa were piling up the pressure. Before that own goal came, it was pressure after pressure after pressure. We only grew into the game when we saw that, okay, these guys have brought the fight to us. Now we need to take the fight also back to Bafana. But what are your thoughts with how the game plan was executed? How we saw that off field, there was a game plan taking the game over there to a rugby pitch. We all saw that. But we also saw how the team on the field executed the game plan. What are your thoughts on Mbizo?
Well, of course, I mean, the game went more or less like I thought it would. And so it was really a question of um, coming out, holding possession, being quick, being clever, and not getting into physical battles with the Nigerians. And I think when we were fresh, when the game had just begun, that we were very good at that. I thought we were silky, we were smooth, even sometimes audacious in the skills and the moves.
Mm.
Someone in the group was commenting that he thought South Africans just do that freestyle nonsense on YouTube and whatever, and that he was shocked that when we're on the football field in an international game, these boys are bringing this what we call Kasi flavor, this
Exactly.
flair and creativity.
No,
So
no
again,
look
I was
pass.
delighted by that. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So I was completely delighted by that. And I thought, initially when the game began, I looked at the team and I said, I thought maybe we were showing Nigeria too much respect.
Yeah.
And not because of the team itself, but obviously not Nigeria, but the context. We
Mm.
are, we want 3 points to get to the World Cup. We're leaders of the group. We're in South Africa. We're playing a great brand of football. We're unbeaten in ages. So why did it seem like we were there to soak up a little bit of pressure? I didn't initially like what I believed to be that approach.
Mm.
But then, Temba in the group, he explained a little bit. He thought, look, they're looking for balance. I think that the players that are there still can keep the ball, still can attack and put South Africa under pressure. And it turns out he was absolutely right. Because as you said, I think first 25 minutes especially, it was only us. We were the only team on the pitch. And I think towards the end of the first half, Nigeria, I think, came back a little bit, started putting pressure on South Africa as well. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact that it's impossible to maintain that level of pace and
Mm.
intensity that we had in the beginning. It's always difficult to maintain that all across, and especially against a team as good and as strong as Nigeria. But then, second half, Nigeria was like, we are the giants of Africa after all. Let's attack these guys, and they did that, and in exactly the way I expected them to do, which is mostly through set pieces, mostly through difficulty with long balls. They brought
Mm.
on that boy, who's he, the number
Toluwa
nine there,
Romidare.
that man mountain. And I told you that we have trouble dealing with players like this. And even the goal,
Yeah.
I believe it came from a cross, right, a set piece. So
Yeah.
it went exactly how I thought it would go. South Africa with the football, Nigeria with the resilience, with the power, with the pace. And in the end of the day, I thought the share of the spoils was absolutely completely fair. That's exactly what the game deserved, was a 1-1
Mm.
scoreline. Both teams did the jabbing and the punching. They did the defending, and so yeah, it was the correct result.
Spot on from you, my brother. There's a comment here that's very interesting, and I think South Africans will be excited about this one. Lovers of South African football will be excited about this one. But before then, shout out to my brother, amazing. You're always supporting, man. Shout out. You support all the work I'm doing on Football in Pidgin channel. So if you're Nigerian and you're watching the stream, this is not the only channel I operate. I do a lot of work on Football in Pidgin, where I do a lot of football content in our Pidgin vibe, in our Pidgin style. So, all your West African, you understand Pidgin. You can also look up Football in Pidgin.
Hey, we understand pigeon also. Of course, we there.
You there. People like Shad. People like Shad
Chad,
and
yeah,
yourself.
we're
Demba, the
multilingual.
guys. Big up my
Yeah,
South
yeah,
African
big
brothers.
up.
And shout out to Amazing. It's always supporting all the work. But Amazing, just like you are, I know a lot of Nigerian fans are, frustrated. There's one of my big brother. I need to call him immediately after the stream. He was calling me immediately after the game yesterday, but I was on the stream. And that stream lasted, I was telling him, Mbizo, that stream lasted for 2 hours, almost 2 hours, 40 minutes, close to 3 hours stream, where we're talking, yeah, bro, it got that long. And we still did not finish all the talking points on the show, because we dive deep to talk about, all the problems that we were suffering deep down, and how we are seeing them reflect on the results on the pitch, because we know that the talent is not a problem when it comes to Nigerian football.
Yeah.
It's not by mistake that we've won the last 2 African Cup we've won the last 2 Best African Player of the Year awards. It's not by mistake. It's telling you that the talent is there, but there are things that we are lacking. In the years past, we have been able to push, cover all of these lapses because of, that talent. But the sport is advancing. Teams are closing the gap. Teams are closing the gap with respect to the talent pool and with respect to sports science, with respect to investment in the facilities, in coaching, and all of that. So the talent alone cannot cover all of these errors, all of these, mismanagement, all of this, poor planning, poor preparation. So we need to get all of that in quotes in order. So we really dive deep on that stream. So people who understand pidgin can also, check that one. And we had a lot of passionate Nigerians giving their thoughts on the current state of Nigerian football, which I think it is a crisis situation. And the NFF, and if the NFF are not ready to, get the job done, I think the government needs to step in. Even though FIFA does not like situation like this, I think there are mechanisms, there are way that they could, potentially step in. So, but I think this one is coming from a very passionate place, from amazing, and I totally understand your point of view, my brother. And let's, I think, Chad, I would like to get your thoughts on this one, coming from Gringo. It's saying development is key. My brother, I agree with you. And it said you never heard of the likes of Kabani, Nkota, Mbukazi, Umule. Umule dropped one very good one that I really liked during the game. I personally, I loved. I'm a fan of the game, so I love to enjoy and enjoy to watch flair players like Umule do their thing. And Mbukazi, for me, going into the game, I was eager to see how he would perform, because I have heard big things. And I think it was Stemba saying it on the shot that already at the age of 19, he was already a captain of his football club. And that is impressive. When you see a 19-year-old in leadership position, that tells you that there is, there is massive talent there. And we saw how he took responsibility with that long-range effort trying to beat Stanley Wabali. So I think this crop of players are players that would get South African fans and South African football faithfuls excited. And I know Shad has got a lot of things to say about the likes of Mbukazi, Umule, Umunia, and Sababele. What are your thoughts about, this crop of players that are currently running the show in the big stage for Bafana? What are your thoughts, my brother Chad?
I love our talent pool right now. I love the fact that we have a structure in place, and the mentality, I was just thinking it now, our mentality is more team based than individual based. And
True.
Bafana has had that problem where we rely on certain individuals to do the job for us. So where there was a stage where Steven Pienaar was the guy, and if he was there, we'd bank all our hopes onto him because he's playing in the English Premier League, for instance. And now it's about the team. It's about the fact that, anyone can come in and take your spot and will perform. I was extremely impressed by Mohaung Kota yesterday. And as much as you guys say Calvin Bassey had a great game, Calvin Bassey was fathered by a 20-year-old, in my opinion. Sipho
I would
Mbule,
disagree, but Nkota, big up. Nkota had a fantastic game. But go on, my
he
brother.
was fathered. He was fathered. Sipho Mbule is another one who we actually thought we nearly lost. He was almost lost to South African football when he came up as a SuperSport player as a 20-year-old with Tebogo Mokoena, by the way. He was deemed as better than Tebogo Mokoena. But obviously off-field issues and things like that got in the way. And it's good to see the revival that's come up now. And it's a beautiful place to be in as a South African football fan, to know that we have this talent pool coming up and in our junior ranks as well.
Amazing, my brother. And I think this one is coming from one of my South African brothers or sister. I'm sorry, I'm not very sure. I can't see the picture very clearly, but it's saying South African, and I don't know Kabani, the guy who failed to stop the cross, poor tactics by Hugo Bros. So we still have people who were not satisfied with the tactics from Hugo Bros. But I think South Africa got the job done. Maybe you were going into the game expecting South Africa to come out, all out and try to beat the Super Eagles 3-0. I don't know. Mbizo, what are your thoughts?
Well, let me address this. I don't necessarily agree. One, a player making a mistake is certainly not necessarily a tactical faux pas. I mean, a player can make a mistake in the perfect tactical plan. But I think you guys especially know that I'm not a big fan of Hugo Bros. I've never been a big fan of Hugo Bros. We've been playing great football, and I keep my opinions about him and about South African football to the football. But I'm not a huge fan of Hugo Bros. But I think we have to confess that he's earned our respect. I mean, it has been ages. It has been ages since South Africa has played such football. I was joking in the group as well with you guys about how, when last time we were in the World Cup, my children weren't born. I'm a father now. I'm an African uncle now. You know what I mean? And I haven't been watching South Africa in the World Cup. So I think we have to, even in our dislike of the man and maybe even his approach, because one of the criticisms, for example, I have is the changes yesterday came too late. The changes came too late, and some of the changes weren't quite the right ones. We have some other young talent, maybe arguably, I think many people would agree with me, better than Nkota. In Rally, for example, right?
Yes.
Mofokeng is better than Nkota. So why don't you bring the boy on and give him opportunities to play? So we do have our criticisms, of course. We don't think it's perfect. However, we got to give it up. Credit where credit is due. He has us playing consistent football. He has us looking like a South African team, playing like a South African team, true to our footballing heritage and culture. We're playing the way most South Africans I'd rate, want to see us play. So, I give it up to Bruce. I wouldn't be sad to see him go. I wouldn't, because I think South Africa has coaches. I think we have quite a number of coaches who could take over the national team and have a South African passport, which would also be positive for the development of the South African game. We have coaches out there. So I wouldn't be sad to see him go. But I have to give him credit for the work that he's done for Bafana since taking over.
Rightly said there, my brother. And for me personally, I would also want to give Hugo Bros credit for the work that he has done so far. But like you said, I think South Africa's football right now, it's in a very good place. And I hope that you guys will continue to make improvements and continue to put African football also on the map, because no matter what success comes to the individual African teams in the continent, we are putting Africa as a continent on the global stage. So, but if South Africa has the team, that eventually gets the job done, which I think South Africa will, because there's just 2 games left, and I don't see a situation where South Africa will lose both games that are unquote would be played on home soil. So I don't think that's going to happen. So, but I think South Africa will get the job done. Even though I'm hoping, one part of me is still hoping and praying, but I think like right now it's pretty much impossible. So, but I want to talk about the Nigerian side of things now. I've given you guys, the reins to shine and bask in your glory right now, because it's South African football now, enjoying all the accolades. But I think on my side, I think we are on the downside right now, which where our football has been heading in the last couple of years, and we've not really seen changes with respect to the administrators. I would like to pull this one up there. I think this explains where we are right now in terms of Nigerian football. This one is coming from Amazing. It says, while he was a little boy, he watched the greats, the likes of Sunday Olise, JJ Okocha, Finidi George, Rashidi Yekini, etc. And they played. And this is a stark difference between the legends of old and the current crop of players. And we are lacking players with winning mentality. Yes, my brother, I would agree with, the mentality and the attitude of some of these players with respect to how they've performed during this World Cup qualifying series, because I think we put ourselves in a very difficult situation. and we did not lay our bed well, and we have to, sleep on how we've laid our bed from game one during the World Cup qualifying series. Because if we are taking these other games with the same intensity, the same urgency that would played Bafana of South Africa with yesterday, I think we would have been able to win this game. So we did not begin to grasp the importance of the World Cup qualifying series until it was way too late. We did not begin to get our acts in order in terms of our organization, in terms of our planning, until it was way too late. So I think we shot ourselves in the foot, and now we have to face the consequences of not going to the World Cup, because I see a lot of people who are now still putting an eye on the 2 game that's left. But looking at how South Africa has executed their business, looking at how also Benin Republic has executed their business so far, because we also need to mention Benin in the scheme of things, because they have got 14 points right now, and they are also, trying to qualify for the World Cup, and they would want to try to beat South Africa also. I think that would be a very big game, a very big decider in the last 2 games that's left in this World Cup qualifying group of Group C. So I think Benin also need to take some credit. Where you see Benin Republic being second in the group where Nigeria is, I think that tells you how poorly Nigeria has performed during the World Cup qualifying series. And while I was, giving my thoughts and my analysis of the whole situation, I think I got a comment on here on the YouTube channel from a fellow Nigerian who said I should shut my mouth up, that this was not time for whaling and all of that. But in retrospective, I thought I was, painting the whole picture of how bad the situation was. And I think maybe if he did not get the picture before the game, he can get the picture now after the result of yesterday's game. Because I think if we had planned better to get a draw there in South Africa, would have been okay for us. If we had won against, if we had beaten Lesotho home and away, if we had also beaten, I think we still have Lesotho to play left. If we had beaten Lesotho in Nigeria, if we had beaten Zimbabwe home and away, if we had not lost to, what's it called? Benin Republic also, we would not definitely need to come to South Africa to win. But we put ourselves in a very difficult situation, and now we are now looking like the game was lost in South Africa. The game was not, the World Cup qualification chances was not lost in South Africa. It was lost when we drew with Zimbabwe 1-1 at home. It was lost when we also drew with Zimbabwe in Zimbabwe. It was lost when we failed to beat Lesotho in Nigeria. It was lost when we lost against Benin. So in my opinion, I think we started getting it wrong from the very start of the very game one from during this World Cup qualifying series. So I think this is a wake-up call for Nigeria and for Nigerian football to go back to the drawing board and try to get our acts in order and try to get our hearts in order, because it's been a long time coming for us. It's not surprising that we are no longer dominating during the men's game as much as we did. We've dominated during the WAFCON, the women's game. The Falcons have been, high-flying in the last couple of years. But if you can look closely, in the last couple of years, that dominance, that gap the other teams are closing the dominance now. Look at Morocco. Look at how they've invested massively in terms of, human resources, in terms of facilities. Mbizo was talking about South African coaches now. Morocco has done a lot of, they have hosted the recent CAF coaches workshop, the recent CAF coaches seminars. And when you go through the list of coaches that are going through these programs, they are all coming from Morocco. So we also need to go back and do these things right, because it's not rocket science that Morocco are doing very well across board. When you look at, women football, they are doing well. The younger age grade, they are doing well. The senior national team for men, they are also doing well. I think these are all pictures. These are all, examples that are looking at us as Nigerians, in our face, in our korokoro eye, as we will say it in Pidgin, and we are failing to get the bigger picture. We are failing to, do the right things. Before now, like I was saying earlier, our talent alone was enough for us to do it. But now, talent alone cannot do it. The game has advanced. You need more than players who are talented to get the job done. When we got to the finals of the last AFCON, we did not prepare. It was not our preparation. It was not that we did all the right things behind the scene. It was because of the talent on the pitch. It was the talent on the pitch that pushed us that thus far. So, but the game is moving rapidly from those years past, the last decade, the last 2 decades before then, where our talent alone on the pitch, when we had the greats alone, and we could do it. And also the mentality of some of the players down, we can't compare it with the mentality of these guys, because these guys, they knew the importance of this game. They knew the importance of playing, wearing the green, white, green colors. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board, in my opinion, and come up with a roadmap, come up with a plan for Nigerian football. While I'm talking about it, I'm getting all emotional, because Nigerian football for me, it's my bread and butter. Nigerian football was what exposed me. Nigerian football was what exposed me to the love of the game. Nigerian football was what exposed me, to begin to get into the media field, to create football content and all of that. It was from my early days of watching the greats that were mentioned here. It was my early days from following the Super Eagles. And during those years, the Nigerian fan was also very enthusiastic about the national team. When the Eagles is playing, you would not see any cars on the road, bro. People close their shops. Church does not put their church program. People do not put mosque prayers in those times. Everything is closing when the Super Eagles are playing. That's how big the Super Eagles were during those years. The Nigeria, if Nigeria scores a goal, the whole whatever city you are in echoes for the scream of goal. But when Nigeria scored South Africa yesterday, it was as if we did not score in my vicinity. But years past, I knew, experienced it. I saw what the feeling was like. So we need to go back to the drawing board and begin, to get these things right and bring the Nigerian fans closer again to the team, because we have lost it in terms of our football. We have lost it in terms of our planning and all the things we have done behind the scene. We need to come up with a roadmap. And I'm looking at it now. I'm saying the NFF should not try to find a scapegoat. This is the card that they have played for a long time. When things go wrong, they would want to sack the coach. They want to sack the coach. For me, it is not a coaching problem. Different coaches have come. We might also want to say, okay, some of these coaches are not on the level of the Super Eagles and all of that. Yes, it is fine. But Shad, I know you want to talk. My brother. I know you want to talk. I'm sorry, Mbizo and Shad. I got
no. I've actually seen so many similarities to what you're mentioning with the NFF and what has been happening with South African football. The first thing I thought when you were speaking was rest in peace to the big boss, Stephen Keshi. I will say it always. That has been one of my favorite coaches of international football of all time. Never mind how great he was as a player. And the first thing that hit me was, that was the last time, in my opinion, where I've really seen the national pride which came with Nigerian football. Another thing which was very similar to South Africa, let's say about 20 years ago, was we had a lot of players playing in Europe, doing their thing in Europe, and then they'd come to the national team acting like superstars and not performing like the superstars that they think or try to show themselves as, because of the legacies which were set out beforehand. So I thought about it earlier when, like during your qualifying, when I said, why didn't you just keep Augustine Eguavian on? Why didn't you keep him on as your manager? But also realizing that Niger has been topsy-turvy with coaches, as you've mentioned. I don't believe Eric Schall is the guy.
Me neither.
Thank you. Me neither. I feel Augustine should have been the guy, because even
no. Shout out to disagree, but go on. Land,
no. I'm saying this. I'm saying this for a reason. I'm saying this for a reason. I think it's me, and I'm very process based because I've seen it in football.
Mm.
I've seen it in football. I've seen how process based a process based mentality works. Maybe he's not the guy, but Eric Shell is not the guy either.
Eric Shell's not
So
the guy.
so
Yeah.
I'd rather have to spend much less money on a similar or even a slightly better standard than what I got. This is some and for me it's about football identity. For me it's about national pride. For me it's about national pride. Another thing is you guys had such a great Chan. You had a great Chan tournament, but there's nobody from your domestic league who gets into the team at all. And it's been a problem with Nigerian football for the longest time as well. It's, oh, this one plays for Trabzonspor in Turkey. Every selection has some two strikers playing in Belgium. Every single national team selection. And these are guys that aren't playing in your national team. But you're going to go to look at Cyprus, look at all those because it's in Europe. What about quality? So for me, with Nigerian football, you're right. The NFF is to blame. The system is to blame itself. But let's get back to basics and try and find a way to bring back national pride.
Exactly put, my brother. We need to find a way to, get things right. Yeah, I get your point with respect to Eric Chile. Is it the best? Is it the best option out there? I would not say yes. But with respect to him and Austin Iguavoin, bro, I followed Augustine Iguavoin for a long time. I know. So Cameroon 2021, I was there, bro. I saw it with my two naked eyes. I saw what happened. I saw how, for me, I think the difference with Augustine Iguavoin, yeah, I was there, bro. I was there. I saw it in, what's the name of the stadium? I'm forgetting it, in Garoua. I think the stadium was in Garoua in Cameroon. I was there. I saw it with my naked eyes. So I'm a living testimony. The thing with Augustine Iguavoin, who is the technical advisor now of the Super Eagles, is tactically is sound, but the problem is when plan A does not work, where's the plan B? That is this problem. And that is something that we've noticed not just once, but over time. He has gotten spell with the national team when we've seen it. It starts well, but when the opposition prevents that is tactical plan of the plan A, because you saw it, you saw how we performed fantastically well during the group stage in the AFCON in Cameroon. We were at the top of the group. We smashed every team in front of us. We outplayed Egypt.
Yeah, that's an overstatement.
Exactly.
Of course, that's an overstatement. I don't think
we did. We smashed everything.
That's not the word I would use. You won.
He needs to clutch. Let him clutch at the small wins. Let him take the small wins.
In terms of Egypt,
he's losing now.
We did not smash Egypt, but we kept them quiet. We won the game. But we smashed all the rest teams. And during the group stage, wait, let me come with my bragging right. During the group stage, we were the best team. CAF said we were the best performing team during the group stage. Augustine Iguavoin was the best manager during the group stage. Afterwards, you remember everything clearly.
I remember.
When we went to face a Tunisia team that struggled, unquote, they qualified as the best loser. They prevented us from playing, and we know that all our attack was coming through Moses Simon from the left. And when they put two men on him, prevented him from playing, immediately they scored first. We know.
Yes, my brother, up boss.
Hey.
Sometimes this internet can take over like this. But to actually, Chad, I was before maybe Akbos comes back. I was actually still curious about some of the things you were saying about the similarities between South African football and Nigerian football, because I think we're more professional than Nigeria at suffering. Nigeria hasn't suffered in football the way we've suffered. So
maybe they don't know.
Maybe we can help them on how to deal with.
We need to help them. We need to help them. I can give a quick master class now. as to what to do. It's very simple. It's very simple.
What's that?
Let these so-called superstars stop their nonsense. That's that's the first thing. Let them stop their nonsense. I looked last night and I was like, where's Ademola Lookman? You know, I looked at it like, where's Ademola Lookman? This is the African Player of the Year. And he is quiet. He wasn't kept quiet. He is quiet. He was not playing like
Yeah,
himself.
that's true.
He was not
Which is,
playing like himself.
sorry to cut you, Chad, but that's actually interesting because I think in the comments, Amazing said we are lacking players with winning mentalities, and I think that's kind of what you're talking about right there is a player that kind of shoulders the responsibility. Right? Yeah, there it is. We are now lacking players with winning mentalities. That's true because, as Akpo said, the talent remains steadfast, right? But maybe winning mentality. Although I have to bring a different perspective as well, gentlemen. I think yes, I agree with Amazing that winning mentality lacks. And that's why a player like Lukman maybe doesn't shoulder the responsibility. But simultaneously, let's be fair. These players do not have a coach, a system that is espousing a
Conducive.
philosophy, a plan, an objective that everyone can unite towards. Because let me ask, what is Nigeria's tactics? We say tactics, but what's Nigeria's plan? When Nigeria steps onto the football field, how is it they want to attack? What is the plan of attack? How does Nigeria score their goals? How does Nigeria defend? Do they push? Do they press? Do they sit on the low block? The problem with Nigeria right now for me is there is absolutely no identity. And if
Yes.
there's no identity and you're just simply calling up players and saying, let's play, and giving them very basic and general instructions, it's difficult for players to create chemistry and to be on the same page when you attack, to be on the same page when you defend. That's what tactics are for. The tactics, one tactic versus another isn't necessarily superior or inferior. Tactics are designed to get the team playing the same way. It's to get the
Cohesion.
team with cohesion. That's the word. Precisely right. It's to make your team cohesive. And Nigeria is absolutely not cohesive. I've already spoken about how they're maybe lacking a creative force in the midfield, similar to Brazil. But there also just generally isn't this. There isn't a single um, idea, a point at the horizon that everyone then works towards and say, this is how we play and attack. A lot of long balls, a lot of hopeful crosses, a lot of the Liberian man say boom boom football, right? I saw in the
Yes.
We call it
boom
boom
boom.
boom.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yes.
saw another Nigerian fan on social media call it call it police football. My God,
They call it police
because
football too.
it
We call
really
it police
is
football too.
because it's unsophisticated and it's below the level of the players.
Of the
The
quality,
players are
yeah.
top quality. The players are top quality, but the football, the philosophy, the strategy, the tactics, the lack of organization and philosophical foundation leaves every player kind of just doing what they believe is right. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And
Exactly.
and and Mbizo, if I would come into to this point, this vital point you are making it, and this is one of the reasons why persons like us we are saying right now that we want Eric Chile to be given more time. Because this what you are highlighting now, it's a problem that we've seen with the Super
You mean
Eagles
the
for a
guy that put Cyril Dessers as starting
long.
number 9? That's the guy you're talking about.
My
Oh,
Bro,
man.
bro, bro,
continue,
bro, bro,
brother.
but
Continue.
another
Not
thing is,
even 10th choice.
another thing is, I am looking at the situation that he took over the reins. When he took over it, we were in a messy situation. And if I want to be fair with this guy, it's how much time has he spent with this team? How much does he know these players, in my opinion? So I think I'm trying to give him, more time to express himself and let's see what he's trying to do. Because I think if I would compare what I saw over the last two managers during this World Cup qualification series, because I think he has managed how many games now? And if I check the source, I was looking at a post
Is
and I
it
was seeing the
four?
success.
Four?
Four
Four or five?
games, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Two rounds.
we won the only two games we've won during this World Cup qualifying series were won under
Yeah,
Eric
with
Chile,
him. Yeah.
and we've not lost any game under him. So I think if we put all of that, into consideration, I think it will be very, very harsh to, relieve him of his duties right now, because I think we were in a deep mess. And this is also coupled with this is when I look at all of the situation, we approached other managers before we went to knock on the door of Eric Chile. We heard a lot of rumors of Avi Renard, but Avi Renard would not come for you to stain his white in your messy situation that you were in. No, bro, I will say it. I will call a spade on the
You're honest.
yes, they would stain his white. So if you are Avi Renard, you've messed up the whole situation, and you know that these guys would come and would not give you a conducive working environment. Because even Eric Chile, I know what I'm saying. Even Eric Chile, does he have free reins to make these calls? Does he have free reins to invite players that he wants to invite? Does he have free reins to play players that he wants to play? So all of these are the question marks that are behind the scene. And for me, I'm looking at what he's trying to instill, because since he have come, I've seen us, trying to get some passes. You talk about how we play police football, how we play. It's a known fact. We saw how we got. It was not a beautiful playing style that took us all the way to the AFCON final. We found ways to win. We played to our strength, physically imposing, strong. We used our area prowess, to put the balls in the back of the net. We scored a lot of goals. Yeah, that was what we used to get all the way. So in terms of playing style, I think I'm beginning to see some lights so far since when Eric Chile took over the team. And for me, I don't want us, to relieve him now when we don't have someone better.
Yes, I agree. Of course. And I'll say this. I think what you're saying is completely commonsensical. He's only been there 4 games. The wins that you've gotten were under him. Perhaps he's earned himself at least the opportunity for some continuity, right?
Exactly.
To maybe take them, build for AFCON, and maybe even give AFCON. Let's see how it goes, right?
Exactly.
I get it. But you see, my thing about Eric Shell isn't just, or Shelley, sorry, it's not just based on his performances for the Super Eagles.
I know. You want to take it back to Mali.
Let me take it back to Mali for a second, my brother, because this Mali team is probably its golden generation. This Mali team that they have today is probably one of the best Mali teams that you've ever seen. Their midfield, let's just talk about the midfield, is probably one of the best midfields in Africa. Okay, their midfield.
Yes.
Mali is a talented squad. Quietly, maybe they don't have the big superstar names of some of the other teams, but they're a solid team. And for me, that team had the opportunity to compete for an AFCON. That's how good I think Mali was, and how good I think their midfield was. And you can rely on one part of the field or another. If your midfield is stronger than your defense, and so on and so forth, if your defense is stronger than your midfield, you rely on those sectors of the field to be your fundamental base for operations, right?
Yeah.
And if it's the midfield, that's the heart of the game. I think you'll be okay. If you have a strong midfield, you can be okay. Yeah. Eric Shell underachieved chronically with that Mali team. And the same thing that I'm saying is symptomatic of Nigeria is actually symptomatic of Mali. Despite having a midfield where you could say to these guys, let's put the ball down, let's push, let's play. Mali didn't really have that style of football. And he capitulated. Who was it against? Was it against Burkina Faso?
Namibia.
No. In the
AFCON.
They lose to when they were pouring the water on his head.
Let me pull it up.
I can't remember. Was it Ivory Coast or Burkina Faso? I can't remember.
I think it should be. I think the team even had one man down. That was what
It might have been Burkina Faso.
Mali was supposed to win that game. That scene, we were never supposed to see it. But Eric Shell failed to manage that game. He failed to make the appropriate changes. Mali lacked an identity and couldn't play some serious football. So for me, I'm sorry. I don't think maybe he was the best that was available to Nigeria that they could hire at the time. But for me, I am not an Eric Shell fan. It was Ivory Coast. They were supposed to beat Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast wasn't supposed to see that AFCON final, although I did put them as my favorites. But they weren't supposed to get past Mali. For me, Mali is recently a perennial dark horse the last 4 years because they have top players. But Eric Shell just couldn't make it happen despite the quality in that team. And I have no belief that he'll make it happen for Nigeria either. I'm not saying that there aren't background issues. I'm not saying that NFF
Yeah,
is an issue and so on and so forth. But if we are talking about management and the stopgap, I just don't think he's good enough. If I'm wrong, kudos to him. I'll accept it. But I'm sorry. I just don't believe in Eric
exactly.
Shell's. Eric Shell's
I
work now.
I totally understand your point. I totally understand your point, Mbizo. But Shad, I would like to get your thoughts also, on South Africa going into the last two games. What after getting the job done against Nigeria? Yes, South Africa did not get the win. Nigeria also did not get the win. But I think that result works more in the favor of South Africa, who know that going into the game, Nigeria needed to get all 3 points to keep their World Cup hopes of qualification alive. But what are your thoughts after the game now going into the other two games? We know that South Africa still has to play Benin Republic. What are your thoughts about that game? Because I think that game is the game
Are
that's
you guys
left.
sure?
Right.
Are you guys sure? Don't we play Zimbabwe and Rwanda? Am I
No,
wrong
I
about
think
this?
I think you have to play Benin.
Do we
Yeah,
play
we have
Benin?
Yeah. Let me pull it up. I think yes, South Africa have to play Benin.
Yeah, sorry, gents. Just confirm that for me
Yeah, let me confirm. Let me confirm.
because to be honest,
Sorry, I'm wrong. South
okay,
Africa has to play Rwanda.
Rwanda
Rwanda has
and
to
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. So
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
okay, that's what I thought.
It's
That's what I
Rwanda.
thought.
It's Rwanda. It's
Okay,
Rwanda was
because
the one I was
Benin,
going to mention.
if
Oh,
we
we
played
drew
Benin,
against them.
it was easier. It was easier. We
Yeah.
just killed them off and then it's done.
It's Nigeria that has got to play Benin. It's
Gotcha.
not South Africa. That's where I missed it up. So South Africa has to play Rwanda. Rwanda still have 11 points. Shad, what do you think would happen in that game? And do you think this result puts South Africa going into that game with more confidence?
To be honest, I would have loved the win. The win would have changed things for me because with this win, and based off of the talent pool which I've mentioned earlier, we would have used these two games as much as they must win, and as much as we need to keep the momentum. We would have used these two games as a chance to try out certain combinations. But now we're in a situation where these are must-win games. So we are favorites. We are favorites, but I always say that I tense up when Bafana plays Zimbabwe. I tense up because
Same.
I know our history between South Africa and Zimbabwe in terms of the COSAFA rivalry that we have. Zimbabwe is always a tricky game. Rwanda has also shown us flames over there, even though that was another situation of match fixing, which I will not get into here. But Rwanda has also shown that they can pack a punch. So these games are, as much as we favorites, they still games that we need to take seriously. However, I am confident. I am confident that we will get the job done. And I am confident that we'll be in the World Cup. And I'm actually excited to be there. And hopefully I can get to a game or two. But that's where I stand.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a
Mbizo,
perfect
what
analysis.
are your thoughts going into the two games? South Africa's qualification, is it set on stone? Or you would want to approach both games with some form of caution. I think some South Africans now are already in celebration mode. They think like, okay, it's in the bag, job done. We have qualified for the World Cup. But what are your thoughts with the whole picture of the group standing and the approach you would want to take going into these two key features for South Africa?
I think Chad speaks for us all. I think Chad speaks for us all. I thought that was an excellent analysis. It's exactly as he says. These guys are tricky. Zimbabwe, and it's because of the pitch. It's because of the history. It's because of the culture. It's because of the geographic proximity and rivalry. Even sometimes similar style. And
great
Rwanda plays decent football. I was actually, especially when I watched, it was an unsuccessful hate watch, Nigeria and Rwanda, but Rwanda surprised me.
Yeah,
Rwanda did not look like
exactly.
they were afraid of Nigeria. They didn't.
Mm,
They didn't. They didn't recoil so much as you would expect a minnow to do against a giant like Nigeria. So I was
mm,
impressed. It was clearly not by accident that Rwanda was where they were on the table. It wasn't by accident that they've made the group difficult for everyone in it. And so look, I've been impressed by them. So it's exactly as Chad says that these games are games we have to take seriously. It's a different situation now than it would have been if we had gotten 3 points against Nigeria.
mm.
We only need three, depending on what happens with Benin. The other question is, will Nigeria play for pride and beat Benin? Because I think if
Mm,
that happens, it doesn't matter what happens with us, I think.
mm.
So there's a few different variables, but either way, we have to take it seriously. Against Zimbabwe, we just have to get the job done. I think the same way we put Nigeria under pressure early, we must play the same way. In fact, if we go out and we treat Zimbabwe as if they were a Nigeria, we go kill them. We go kill them nice and early. Finish off the game, manage the rest of the game by knocking the ball, forcing Zimbabwe to come and tire themselves, and then we just close out the qualifiers. And then we treat Rwanda as a game to experiment, as a game to let some of the youngsters play, right? So I thought Chad's analysis was absolutely spot on. And again, if Benin fails to win their next game, then I think it's curtains. It's curtains on it. So yeah, exciting times. It's difficult not to get excited, Akbos. I know we still have games, we still have to get the job done, but it's
Yeah.
difficult not to feel like we're in celebration mode already. I've been waiting to celebrate like this for 15 years, Akbos. You know what I'm saying? For 15, 16 years, Akbos. I
No, it's
was a young
long.
man. I was a young man when last, Bafana made me this happy and proud, brother. So, no one's going to hold me back from smiling, from being
And
happy, from celebrating. I don't care, you know.
and I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
And I think Mbizo can stand by me with this. This is the first time I feel that Bafana will not be going into the World Cup as a team that's just there for vibes.
Right. Just a
We
joke.
we
Mm.
we should be looking at, okay, now it's 48 teams. We should be looking at the last 16. We should be looking at getting into the last
Slow
16.
down, slow
No,
down,
I'm not
slow
saying, no,
down.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
slow
that
down, my
This man
no,
is
brother.
coming
listen,
with he's coming
let me
with
cook, let
gas
me cook,
now.
let me cook, let me cook. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. We shouldn't be there to make up the 48. We
Yeah.
should definitely aim for the 32. However, however, I said this in the AFCON, and you guys were laughing at me when we got through as the third place team and we made it past the next knockout. And I said, let me dream. I honestly think we can make the 16 if we keep focused and keep pushing and keep this momentum going. I honestly think that we can make the last 16 of the 2026 World Cup if we qualify.
Chad, wait.
Mm,
Okay, look, I understand. I understand his enthusiasm. I understand his enthusiasm, and I have said that I think we're playing one of the best brands of football in the world right now, frankly speaking. But Chad, I think that's ambitious. I think that's ambitious. I do agree that probably for the first time, yeah, for the first time certainly in our history, we're going into the World Cup in a place where we will compete. Even, for example, even if we fall out in the first round, which hey, it's possible.
No, 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 no,
In
no,
fact,
no. We're,
in
we're
fact, no, no,
passing the
no, no.
first
Let me
round.
finish. No, no, but let me finish. Let me land. Right? Okay, fair enough. If we pass the first round, don't forget that this will be our best performance in World Cup history. If we pass the first
Yes.
round, because we've never done it, even at home, we didn't do it. So this is why I'm saying let's take it easy. I know we're playing well and we're enjoying our football, but 16 is a big step. We shoot for passing through the first round. Really, frankly speaking, we shoot for performing well, which for the first time ever I'm confident and I believe in the fact that we will do. We will play well. We will perform well. No matter who's in our group, they will have a tough time playing Bafana Bafana. This is for the first time ever. Okay. But I don't believe that 16 is realistic. It is a dream. We are allowed to, dreams are free, but they say, what Fonte says, Mama, I got dreams, but dreams don't keep the
Don't keep
lights
the
on.
lights
You know
on.
what I mean? We need the lights on, my
My
boy.
lights are on.
And right now the lights on are, firstly, getting the job done, getting to the World Cup,
Yes.
preparing for the World Cup with the mentality that we have used during the qualifiers. So
Qualifier,
we and AFCON, frankly, we are not inferior. We are not here just for the numbers. We believe in our brand. We believe in our football culture. We believe even in our league, in our structures, in our
Yes.
coaches. This is a holistic uh, progression, a holistic improvement with African football. And we just need to go out there and demonstrate it. And this is why I was saying our national team plays a little bit like Sundowns and should continue to do so. When Sundowns went to the World Club Cup, they didn't lose their identity at all. They didn't feel intimidated and then begin to play a football that overly respects the opponents or kicking the ball away under pressure. They maintained that same focus on possession, composure in tight spaces. They maintained their identity. And if South Africa plays the same way, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I'm happy. Because also the thing that killed us about South Africa in our suffering was hope. We would always hope. We would always hope. We would always hope. And that's when
No,
the
I
dagger,
see it.
that's when the dagger deepens.
I see it, but I'm going to aim for that. I'm going to aim for that. I'm okay. I
interesting.
don't mind being delusional. I don't mind being delusional.
Interesting.
Delusion has
Okay,
gone and
don't
has
dream, my
brought
brother. It's
about
okay.
the world's biggest breakthroughs. I can be delusional.
I
It's
know for
okay
me,
to
for
dream.
me, it's
It's
okay.
okay to dream.
Yeah, let him dream.
Big one,
Let him
big
dream.
dreams, big dreams, my brother. But this one is coming from Maleka. Maleka is saying Nigerian veterans have faked injury and resulting to scoring via handball. Yes, with respect to the handball situation, if there was VRO, yes, that goal would have been cancelled. I was telling
Mm.
Mbizo, Chad, and the boys when we scored with the goal that we got lucky on that one, but I would take it. But with respect to your claims there on veterans faking injuries. I know where you were trying to point that direction to, but the player in quotes, the player in question is the player who has played with injuries for the national team colors. And I would disagree there with you, my brother. But I
No,
think
don't mind Mark Post. The truth is, many players got injured yesterday. I think that the quality of the
Yes.
pitch was quite low, and also I thought the referee was poor. I thought the referee was poor, to be honest.
yeah, it
And I
was, it
thought he was
was
poor
Yes.
for both
No.
sides. There were calls both
both
sides where I thought
sides.
to myself, huh,
Mm,
that's not right. And you could see the players' frustrations. And I think the
mm.
Nigerian players got more frustrated because their situation is worse.
Exactly.
But
We were
but
under
I
more
thought
pressure,
we were
to
under
win the
more
game
pressure. Yeah. So
than they
yeah,
were.
Yeah.
yeah. But
So
the referee, the referee was
we
poor.
were on the receiving end more. We were reacting to it more,
Yeah,
and I think it was
yeah,
also coupled to why we saw what happened between the benches at one point during the game.
yeah, yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
Baba, calm
Yes.
down, calm down. It was time for them to
yeah,
calm down because
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
the referee failed to impose himself into the game, and the players he did not really manage the situations very well. And on quote, I hope CAF and extension to FIFA would get this situation so much better. And hopefully, we will have VRO in these qualifiers and also the
Have to have
African
it.
qualifiers because we've seen that key goals are scored that would change, the direction and the result of games, and that would have been corrected on quotes if VRO was made available. I think in 2025 we need VRO in the African qualifiers and the World Cup qualifiers. I hope the next round of these qualifiers, these big games, CAF would put these things in place. And I want to talk a little bit about the Rwanda team because Mbizo, we mentioned them. And for me, I followed them because we clashed with them during the AFCON qualifiers, and I followed their progress they were making under their former coach Torsten Stipler and guys like Anje Mutsinze, Thierry Manzi, the goalkeeper who also plays in PSL for Kaizer Chiefs, Onwari. He had a fantastic game against
Oh,
Nigeria in
wonderful.
Uyo. If not, that could have been easily been a bashing of Rwanda. maybe three to four goals in that game because he made a couple of fantastic saves to deny Nigeria before we eventually got that goal, which some people would say is scrappy, but a goal is a goal. So they have players who I think when they face South Africa do not need to, get too overconfident. Players like Innocent Unshuti, they are dangerous. Players like Majid Bizimana in midfield, these guys have also got threats. So if you make mistakes, if you allow them get free kicks, you allow them get set piece situation, they have players who are physically strong like Anje Mutsinze, Thierry Manzi that can put the ball in the back of the net. So South Africa need to be wary of that Rwanda team. And they've got a very good tactician now in Abdullah Mrouche, who is very, very, very knowledgeable in African football. But we respect, it's been a fantastic stream of people. I think we have over almost 30 people watching. If you've not leave us a like, I think I missed all the part of the stream. If you're not, this one was a very heated one, a very, emotional. So I missed all the usual, all the usual YouTube instructions and, plugins and all of that. So if you've not subscribed to the channel, please press that subscribe button and turn on the notification button. And also, you can follow my brother Mbizo Nzamani. He's got a fantastic channel. The link to that channel is on the description of this video. Just scroll down and leave him a sub also. And you can also see his Instagram handle there and my Instagram handle there. And I will also plug in my brother Chad's Instagram handle. He's a fantastic football fan and a fan of the global game. A big Bafana supporter, and also a fantastic disc jockey who is putting African music, Afrobeat also on the map. So if you're in South Africa, you need a DJ that would, come make your party amazing. Shad is definitely the guy. So I have to market my boy. I have to plug my boy in. So I would definitely his Instagram handle on the description of this video. But for South Africa now, it looks bright, it looks wonderful, it looks exciting. For Nigeria, it looks gloomy, but I would say we are down, but we are not out. I think it is time for us to move on. It's time for us to get back into the drawing board. It's time for us to try to do all of the good things that we have done in years past that made Nigeria a powerhouse in African football, in world football. We need to go back. We've done it before. Definitely we can do it again. We need to go back into our drawing board. We need to go back, get our hearts in order. We need to go back, invest back in grassroots football. We need to get all those things back right, because I think that is one area where we've lacked, trying to, catch this talent as young as possible. We used to have the Principal Cup years past, where a lot of Nigerian greats who came into the national team were spotted playing for secondary schools during the Principal Cups. We need to bring back the Principal Cup back in our school. We need to invest in infrastructures. We've been saying it for ages. The Super Eagles need a permanent camping facility in any of the states in Nigeria. We need to go back and also invest in human resources. Nigeria has got a lot of talented coaches all over the world. We have got a lot of talented coaches also in Nigeria. Let the FA invest in these coaches. Send them to these coaching courses. You understand? Organize coaching programs here in Nigeria. Bring the best Nigerian coaches inside all over the globe back in the country, and let the right people be in the right position. Because one of the key issues that we are experiencing now is having politicians in footballing administration. That is why our football has gone backward. That is why instead of making steps forward, when we make one step forward, we make 100 steps backward. So I think we need to put everything, in order. But I think that we have 2 games left in this World Cup qualifying group. We still need to go out there and win those games. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if FIFA is going to come up one day and say, "Oh, South Africa,
you guys play Benin. Benin.
We need to beat them." There's bragging rights also. We need to finish strong. Say,
my
opinion, we need to beat Benin, beat Lesotho, get this 6 points and see where it puts us at the end of the day. And we don't know if FIFA is going to say, okay, we want to take 3 points away from South Africa. That might also, give us the chance. We don't know if South Africa is going to face Rwanda and stumble. So in my opinion, I think we have our destiny in our hands. It's not looking bright for us right now, but finish strong, win the remaining 2 games, and take that bounce into the AFCON, because for me, the AFCON is the bigger one for me, where I put all the attention. Win these remaining 2 games, use that confidence, and start to plan now for the AFCON, and try to go into the AFCON and try to win it, and also try to keep an eye on the next World Cup, because we have to start
If you
planning
win
now.
if you win it, it's redemption. If you win AFCON, it's redemption for missing the World Cup.
Exactly, my brother. And if we do win AFCON, you bring in the Nigerian fans back supporting the Super Eagles. Exactly. You bring in you also bring in investors, also potentially coming in, deals, sponsorship deals coming in. And for my opinion, I think we just need to get our acts in order and put the right people in place, because I know passionate Nigerians all over the world who are in the football business that are willing to come. If we declare it open, we need volunteers to come in and work for free. People are ready to do it for free to develop our football. I know people who have brought projects brought ideas into, the glass house of the NFF, unquote, and people who are in the football industry. But the first response they get is, what do we gain from it? Will I make money from this scheme? Will I make from this project? You understand? So people who have ideas, who have projects outside, would not even want to bring the project in. All of this is killing our football, and I think it's time for us to, put Nigeria first, put Nigerian football first. All of those people that are looking for what they will chop. Yes, you will chop, but don't shop our football. Leave the money that is meant for our football to go for our football, my brother. Yes, I'm always passionate when I talk about it like this, but it's been a fantastic one. And I want to thank everybody that's made this stream a success. Mbizo and Zamani, my brother Chad, amazing, also a very passionate fan of the Super Eagles. Wuchela, shout out to everybody that's dropped message, Malika, everybody, all the new subscribers also on the channel, because I've seen since the recent I've not done a lot of work on this channel in the last couple of years, but since the recent videos, the last stream I did with Mbizo, I'm getting a lot of new subscribers. I'm getting a lot of new comments. I'm getting banter from my South African brothers. Bring the banter on. I'm always there to respond. But brothers, let's keep it respectfully. We win some, you lose some. South Africa now are enjoying credit. Congratulations to South Africa for the fantastic job they've done so far with the African, with the World Cup qualifying route. South Africa, I take my hat off for South Africa. But Mbizo, I know I've plugged in your channel, plugged in your handle, but just tell people where they can locate you before we officially end the stream, my brother. Where can they locate you on different social media platforms? You're also doing fantastic job for CBS Golazo. For people that don't know, Mbizo is the top reporter for CBS, reporting all the top stories from Africa and South America. Just blow your trumpet a little bit, my brother, on the show. Even though I know you don't like to blow it, but I think this is the right time for you.
You know me well. You know me well. I don't like to do that, but like my brother Akpo said, guys, I'm on pretty much every social media platform, working with my brother, my friend, and superb media content social media manager, Wesley Dizishis. So together we partner on pretty much every single social media platform. At Bizinho11 on Instagram, and that's usually where I do my work. And it's all about African football. It's all about world football from an African perspective. Joga Afro is my new brand, and actually I will be creating a separate brand of Joga Afro, separate social media handles, email, contactable. It's going to be a total football management redesign. And so we'll let you guys know a little bit more about that across my social media platforms. But Akbos, thank you so much for having us, man. It's always a pleasure and an absolute honor to be on your channels, my brother.
Thanks for coming on, my brother. And thanks always for all your support across board, across the socials, across my 2 channels that I'm currently running and operating. But my brother Shad, I see that a lot of South African my South African brothers and sisters were watching the last stream when I was going through the analytics and all of those metrics. And I think I've known that my South African brothers, they like to party, they like to vibe, they like to ginger, and definitely they need a DJ. They need a DJ, and I have the best DJ in South Africa on the stream. So plug it in, my brother. Plug it in. Plug it in.
Yo, thank you, Akbos, for having me. Ball is life as well. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen. You learned gentlemen on this channel, on this football stream. You can catch me on my socials as Chad P17 on all socials, Instagram, TikTok, X, I think even YouTube. I'm there. So yeah, hit me up, check me out, and stay blessed, y'all.
Fantastic one from you, my brother Chad. But my brothers, if you're watching this later, you have a party, you have, you have something when you need a DJ. I've got you covered, man. This is a football channel, but it's a channel that also, have fantastic DJs
Culture.
coming on. Fantastic
Culture.
DJ that will give you the best I'm a piano collection, the best Afrobeat collection, and Chad has got you covered. And I know you would have a fantastic one when you eventually book Chad for your parties and all your fantastic events. But it's been a fantastic one, my people. As we would say, every good thing that has got that's got a starting will also eventually have the time to end. But this one is coming from Ryan Potak, said love from New York. Big up, my brother. Big up.
Hey.
I hope
Big love,
you that's a
brother.
fantastic one. I hope you enjoyed this one, because this one was a very passionate one from me and my brothers. And club football will be back by the weekend, and I would also be bringing Mbizo when it's free to come and talk about all the odd stories, all the top stories, and bringing all my brothers also on the channel to talk about for you. So if you love all of the Premier League football, La Liga football, Italian football, the football talk shop is where you get premium football content across board. So hopefully we'll be bringing you more content with the return of club football. I remain your host on the channel, Akbost. You can also follow me on the different socials. I've got my Instagram link there also. But my people, time for me to go. It's now. You stay blessed and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you for making the show a success, my people.